Okay, so let's unpack this. Um, Imagine the scene. Soft light, maybe quiet whispers, that gentle flicker of a flame.
The classic candlelight dinner.
Exactly. It feels special, doesn't it? It seems to just slow everything down.
It absolutely does. And, while the food and the setting are obviously lovely, what's really fascinating, I think, is how this specific environment is almost custom designed for a certain kind of connection.
Yeah, and
Oh,
conversation.
yes, right, that too.
And that's really the core of this deep dive. We've got some source material here that goes, well, beyond just describing a romantic meal. It really digs into the ingredients, you could say, of great conversation, using that unique, low-distraction atmosphere as its main focus.
Right. It gives us a look at the whole intention behind this kind of dinner, the atmosphere it aims for, and even some pretty practical English phrases you might actually use.
So our mission today really is to extract the insights from this, well, seemingly simple topic. What can this candlelight effect teach us about being present, about connection?
And how setting just fundamentally shapes our dialogue.
Yes, we want you to come away feeling like you've got a deeper handle on how our surroundings impact the words we share.
Okay, so let's start with how the source material defines a candlelight dinner. It's not just like eating with the lights off, is it?
No, definitely not.
It's described more as a romantic or a special dinner where candles are the main light source.
Yes, and it's all about creating that very specific, soft, warm feeling, that atmosphere. And while, yeah, it's often for couples, the source does point out it can be for other close groups too, family, good friends. The key thing is that it's intimate. It's for people you really care about.
And you mentioned it's about the feeling. The source really leans into that, painting a picture with sensory details, like a quiet restaurant, maybe some soft background music, the lights turned way down.
Just the glow from the candles on the table.
Exactly. It's meant to be immersive, intentionally so.
That atmosphere, the quiet, the low light, how your focus is just naturally pulled towards the patient right across from you. It really does sound like the perfect incubator for meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
The source even suggests it's an ideal setting for practicing polite, but also like deeply focused interaction.
It strips away so many of the usual distractions, doesn't it?
Totally.
The bright lights everywhere, the clatter from other tables, your attention is almost forced onto the person and the dialogue happening right there.
That intentional focus,
Yeah.
that seems to be the whole point,
I think so.
which makes the sample conversation in the source material so interesting. It gives us a kind of blueprint.
Yeah, a blueprint for how dialogue can flow naturally when the environment actually supports it.
How does it start in the example?
Well, it starts right away by acknowledging the place, the environment. Lines like, wow, this place is amazing, or the candlelight makes it feel so cozy.
Or even, it's so peaceful in here. I love the soft glow. Things like that.
Exactly.
That's actually a really smart opening. You're immediately sharing something positive about the experience you're both having.
Right. It sets a positive shared tone straight off the bat.
Yeah, it connects you instantly.
And that seems to flow naturally into expressing gratitude just for the time together.
Like what kind of phrases?
The source points out things like, I'm really glad we could do this, or this dinner feels like the perfect way to just relax and enjoy some quality time.
Quality time. That phrase comes up.
It does. And the source specifically defines it here as, spending meaningful, focused time together, not just being in the same room.
Which is precisely what this setting is built for.
Okay.
And then, naturally, compliments might come up.
Yes, absolutely. The source uses the example, you look lovely tonight.
Okay. Simple, direct.
And the response given is, that's very sweet. And you look quite charming yourself.
Nice. And the source highlights, you look lovely, as just a simple, polite, but, effective compliment for this kind of intimate setting.
And it offers alternatives, too, like, you look beautiful, or just, you look great.
Makes sense. It's a way to acknowledge the person when your attention is so squarely on them.
Exactly. And from there, the conversation in the example gently shifts to, well, the practical stuff.
Like ordering food.
Yeah. Asking, so, what are you thinking of ordering? And then discussing the options.
I'm looking at the pasta, or mentioning the chef's special, maybe.
Or maybe something light, like grilled salmon.
Yeah. Does the source explain chef's special?
It does, yeah. Just make sure you know it means the dish the chef particularly recommends that day.
Got it. Just easy, practical language for navigating the menu as a pair.
And they even touch on the idea of sharing something.
Oh, like dessert.
Exactly. Which leads into that wonderful, slightly poetic line the source includes.
Which one?
A candlelight dinner without dessert is like a song without music.
Well, like that.
Isn't that great? The source uses it to show a memorable, kind of charming way to say something feels incomplete.
And it's a nice touch, doesn't it?
Well, it does. A bit of charm.
Okay, so we've seen some good examples of what kind of language and topics seem to fit this setting. But the source also gives us some pretty crucial insights by telling us what not to do.
Ah, yes. This is important.
This is where that whole presence factor really comes into sharp focus.
Totally key. And the source pulls no punches on the first big pitfall. Checking your phone.
Good one.
It says flat out that it kills the vibe. You can see why, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you're in a setting that's been meticulously crafted for focused connection.
Right.
And then you divert your attention to a screen. It's like the ultimate disruption.
It doesn't just kill the vibe, like you said. It kind of undermines the entire reason for being there, for creating that atmosphere.
Yeah, it sends a message, even if you don't mean it to, that something else is more important than this person, this moment.
Exactly. Okay, so pitfall number 2 is talking too loudly.
Right, the atmosphere again.
The source emphasizes this is usually a quiet setting, so you need to use soft tones.
It's not just about being polite to other diners, though.
No, it's about preserving that delicate, intimate bubble the low light and quiet create between the two of you. A loud voice just shatters it.
Good point. And then the third pitfall, which the source seems to imply is maybe the most fundamental.
Forgetting to be present. Not really listening.
Yeah, that one.
Absolutely. Because if the whole setting is designed to strip away external distractions so you can focus,
then the biggest failure is an internal distraction.
precisely. Not engaging, not truly hearing what the other person is saying, that defeats the purpose.
Okay, but the source doesn't just leave us there, right?
Yeah.
It pivots pretty quickly by suggesting the best way to combat that internal distraction.
Is by asking good questions.
Open questions, yeah. It frames them as tools, basically. Tools to invite the other person to share and to keep you engaged, too.
Okay, like what kind of questions?
Well, starting simple, like, how was your day? Or something that encourages a bit of positive reflection, maybe. What's something that made you smile this week? Or even something a bit more imaginative, like, if you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Okay. So things that require more than just a yes or no.
Exactly. They open the door.
And for this specific intimate setting, the source also suggests maybe more romantic or thoughtful questions.
Yeah, it does. Things like, what's your idea of a perfect evening? Or questions that tap into shared history.
Like, do you remember our first dinner together?
Yeah. Or ones looking forward, like, what's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't tried yet?
Okay, I see. So these questions really leverage that focused environment. They encourage deeper reflection, maybe shared memories, dreaming together.
They're not just questions, are they? They're like invitations.
Yeah, invitations to connect on a more meaningful level. And the setting helps make that possible.
So if we pull back from all the specifics for a second, the source's core message really comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah, that a candlelight dinner isn't really just about the food or even the candles themselves.
It's fundamentally about the moment, the feeling, the connection.
Mm-hmm. And the setting, that intentional focus it provides, and then using these kinds of thoughtful conversation tools, they're all geared towards creating and deepening that connection.
It's a really powerful illustration, actually, of how environment shapes interaction.
It really is.
Okay, so let's quickly recap what we've pulled from this source material then. We looked at the definition and the atmosphere of this special kind of dinner, how it's really built for intimacy.
Right. And we explored the flow and some useful phrases from that sample conversation.
And pretty crucially, we dug into those what not to do points, especially the absolute need to just be present. No phones.
Definitely no phones. And then finally, we saw how asking the right kinds of questions can really deepen the connection in a setting like that.
And the key takeaway here, like you said earlier, isn't just about planning a romantic dinner, is it?
No, not at all. This whole exploration gives us insights into how any environment subtly shapes our interactions.
And it really highlights how critical active listening and thoughtful questions are for building genuine connection, basically anywhere.
Yeah, wherever you want that connection to happen.
Just think about it for a second. This candlelight setting is explicitly designed, almost engineered, to peel away distractions, to maximize your focus on the human being sitting across from you.
It's true. It forces that focus.
So here's maybe a thought to leave you with, something to mull over.
Okay.
If the candlelight dinner is this intentional space, deliberately built for presence, what does that tell us about our regular everyday conversations?
Ah, interesting.
Beyond the specific glow of candles, what other elements in our typical environments are maybe subtly pulling our attention away all the time?
Good question. The noise, the screens.
Yeah. And how much are we truly present in our day-to-day interactions when we're not in a setting specifically curated for that kind of focus, compared to the deep intentionality this candlelight atmosphere encourages?
What can we learn, you mean?
Exactly. What can we learn from the candlelight effect about cultivating presence, about fostering real connection in all sorts of moments, even when there isn't a soft glow?